My family, my first is Molly. She's already 11. And then my second child is Matthew, and he's 10. They're 16 months apart, so that was quite busy for a while. And then my husband, Fitz, who I met when I was 20, but we only got married about 10 years later or something. Grew up in South Africa, and then when I met Fitz, he was backpacking here in South Africa, and then I went to the UK and spent 2 years with him in the UK, and then we moved to New Zealand. Well, the very first time cancer landed in our laps in South Africa, in New Zealand, was 7 years ago, and I was 35. I was fit. I'd got rid of that baby feeling that I was going to the gym. I was feeling the healthiest I felt in years, and I just discovered this lump inside my breast after talking to a best friend of mine in New Zealand, and her sister had just been diagnosed. And I didn't, I felt this lump, and I didn't even give it a minute's thought, because I didn't even think about breast cancer. I was young, I was fit, it just didn't even cross my mind. And funny enough, my friends have said to me since then that they would feel that lump and they would go cold. But it took me a good 2 weeks to go and check it out. Anyway, eventually the radiographer said, he started bouncing from foot to foot. And he said, there's no easy way to tell you this, but you've got breast cancer. It just lump of lead. Got home, went straight to the loo, and my mum came. My mum was actually there, and she came in, and I told her. And for 3 days, I was numb. I was breathing. I don't know how I was breathing, but I remember just sitting in my beanbag in the garden, and people were sort of coming and going, and it just felt so foreign. It was awful. The feeling of dread. But I remember this is when God really showed his face in the most amazing way. I went for a walk along the beach in Sumner, in our village in Sumner, and I was with my best friend at the time, and she said, let's go for a walk along the beach. And I was just venting and saying, I trust God and all this, but to be told that there's no hope, I just don't know what to do about that. And we walked down to the end of this beach, and there was this beautiful bench that overlooked the sea, and we sat there and we were chatting, and I had my dog Tyler with us, and it was wrapping up our conversation, and she said, actually, before you go, do you mind if I pray for you? And as I've said, we've only ever partied together on the bench, so that was kind of shy, awkward, something we haven't done in our relationship before. And luckily my dog started barking then, so it just broke the silence and the awkwardness a bit. So we both bent down under the bench and playing with Tyler. But there, I saw this ring. And I picked up this ring and showed it to Gab. And actually the thing I was thinking was, I hope it's got diamonds in it. But it didn't. It had something much better. There were words inscribed on it, and the first word that this ring said was live. The next word that wrapped around said life. The next word was give. And the next word was hope. And that was the start of my relationship with God. He has promised me hope, and he's promised me life. Again, you just feel a bit bashed, but I had that promise from God, just hope. And that time I went on to an oral chemo, so we didn't cut. We went on to an oral chemo, and that was actually great compared to the intravenous chemo. That was fine. But there was a story in that time again. So again, even though God's given me this promise of live life, give hope, there's still the enemy just in your ear, and you can't help it when oncologists and cancer, it's just such a big, ugly word. So anyway, got through that weekend just feeling flat. And then on the Monday, I was driving home and I got this text from Barb's. This is quite bizarre, Sarah, but God has been wanting to tell me that you're like a protea, that you're hardy, you're resilient, you can weather the storm, and after everything, you'll bloom majestically. That, I just pulled over to the side of the road, and it just spoke to me. I just felt that was exactly what I needed to hear. And I went home, I forwarded that text to so many people. They probably didn't really get it, but it just really spoke to me, and I just felt exhilarated. And got home, and actually at the time, the lovely Link ladies were doing meals for me. And I went into the kitchen, and there in the kitchen bench was a tray, beautiful tray with dinner, and 3 king-size proteas on my kitchen bench. Immediately I thought, okay, this is obviously Barb's has orchestrated this, someone's heard about this and they're just going in with it, just to encourage me more. No, again, completely unrelated. They were actually from Cat 11 who knew nothing about what Barb's had said to me. And I was so humbled. So that was my 3rd message from God, just loving me and encouraging me. People were praying for me all over the world, and I remember one evening lying on the couch and thinking, everyone's praying for me. I think I should go and pray. So get to my room, shut my curtains, put my bedside light on, get on my knees. Actually, I'll just open my Bible and get some inspiration first. So just did a... And this is the first time this has happened to me. I opened up on Matthew 15, verse 28, and it said, "Then Jesus said to her, 'Woman, you have great faith. Your request is granted.' And her daughter was healed at that moment." I have had cancer. Let me count first. Wait. I've had cancer followed by mastectomy, chemotherapy, radiotherapy. 3rd time, so I had an oophorectomy. The one I had last year was the worst one. They had to take that implant out, and that was a huge operation. I had to have a muscle taken off from my back because they took out obviously the muscle was infected. Took that all off, took the muscle from my back and put that in the front. And God, I just trust him. I still don't know what the outcome is. I want to believe that everything will be all right, that I will be well, I will be healthy, I will live a long life. There's still a little part of me that it's unknown, but what I do know for sure is that I trust him. He has been so faithful to me in these 7 years. My husband is the most supportive man. He took 3 months off in this last chemo because this has been a nasty chemo as well. And he was there, he nurses me, he looks after the children, he goes and watches their sport, he never complains. My children never, ever have been scared, have never come to me and saying, "Mum, does this mean you're going to die?" Never. God has completely protected them. The friends that I didn't even have before have become friends in this time. They've made me brave. My friends have made me brave. My family's made me brave. And my Father in heaven has made me brave. I am Sarah, and I am brave.